All right, good morning, afternoon, evening. Really, I have no idea what time it is there. Why am I even trying? Anyway, today we're going to look at how on earth we elect our presidents. It is a group called the Electoral College, which you'd think would be incredibly simple, and you're about to find out that it's not. So follow along. First of all, here is how people think we elect our president. They think it's a very simple process. First, two people decide they're going to run for president. Then they spend the next year yelling at each other. Sometimes they yell at each other on TV ads. After about a year, everyone is really tired of TV ads and they just wish that they'd go away. On the day of the election, in order to celebrate the end of the television ads, everyone goes to their local polling place and they vote for who they believe made the best commercials, or who will be the best president, ideally. And then some poor guy in a back room has to sit down and count 120 million votes without losing his place or double counting anything. And that's not how we do it. Well, I mean, it's not totally not how we do it. It's just not exactly how we do it. See, all of these things do happen. Two people decide, or two or more people decide to run for president. They make a whole lot of TV ads spending several $billions. Everyone goes and votes, and then all the votes are counted, or at least most of them are. The problem, however, is that that happens 50 different times. I'll explain. First of all, you have to realize that the founding fathers did not trust people, as you can tell in this obviously realistic photograph of someone talking to Ben Franklin, maybe Jefferson, who really knows? Franklin, of course, had his own views on things, and Jefferson responded in kind. Regardless, what they decided was that the election would be done on a state-by-state basis. So let's start with Missouri, a state I hope that you're all familiar with. Also, if you ever think Missouri looks funny, just think it could look weirder. Ta-da! Anyway, back at Missouri. In the year 2012, we had a presidential election just like every other state did, right? We're a part of this place called the United States. We elect a president all at the same time. So in 2012, the presidential election was between Mitt Romney and Barack Obama. All right, Mitt Romney is the gentleman on the left. Barack Obama is the gentleman on the right. Romney, of course, covering up Kansas City. Barack Obama, St. Louis. Just the way it fell. Now, in Missouri, Mitt Romney got almost 1.5 million votes. Barack Obama got almost 1.25 million votes. So Mitt Romney clearly won, right? It looks like he won by about 260,000 votes, give or take. Please don't question my math. It ain't pretty. Fine, so he won by a large amount. In the final vote, it was very simple. Romney wins 10-0. Which ought to make you stop and think for a second. Because here Mitt Romney has 1.5 million votes and Obama has 1.2 million votes. But at the end of the day, they each get, well, Mitt Romney gets 10 and Barack Obama gets 0. Which again requires a bit more explanation. So here's a map of the country. You probably recognize it. Whenever you fly across the country, you see all of the state abbreviations. You see all the numbers on the map. It's how you know where you are. It's how pilots get us places. Anyway, so what you see in each state is state's abbreviation, and below that you see a number. That number represents how many votes each state gets for the presidency. So Missouri, right there in the middle, has 10 votes. So why does it have half as many votes as Illinois? Why does Illinois get twice as many votes? Or why does Missouri have twice as many votes as Nebraska with only 5? Why does Hawaii have 4? How on earth did California get 55 while Vermont only gets 3? That requires, once again, a little more explanation. So we go back to Missouri. What we see here is a list of our congressmen and our senators. So let's start on the left with our congressmen. We have Lacey Clay, Ann Wagner, Blaine, that guy, Vicky Hartzler, Emmanuel Cleaver, Sam Graves, Billy Long, and Jason T. Smith. I don't know who almost any of them are. What's important is that there's 8 of them. On the other side, we have the senators, Claire McCaskill and Roy Blunt. Missouri has 2 senators, just like every other state in the country. So let's do some very easy math. We have 8 congressmen. We have 2 senators. Combine them together and you get, no, that's not right. Okay, let's do that again. 8 and 2 is pi. Now, that's probably not right. So if we take 8 congressmen and 2 senators, we end up with, right, 10. Hey, that number sounds familiar. So if we took 8 congressmen and 2 senators, we get 10. Well, that's the same number of electoral votes we have. Ta-da! Who knew? So, Missouri's got 10. Hooray! Let's try it with another state and see if it works out. Hint, I think it's going to. Let's choose a state that doesn't have as many people in it. Why? Because I don't want to try to read that many names again. Let's pick on Maine. First thing about Maine, it looks rather silly when separated from the rest of the country. That has nothing to do with electing the president. I simply feel it's important to point out. Anyway, what we have here is we have 2 congressmen, Shelley Pingree and Michael Michaud. I don't know how to say any of those names except for Michael. But there's 2 of them, that much I know. In the Senate, they have Angus King and Susan Collins. I know how to say all 4 of those words. I'm very proud of myself. Right? 2 congressmen, 2 senators. They have 4 electoral votes. And guess what? That's what our map says. They've got 4. So, during 2012, they had the same 2 guys running for president we did. Who would have guessed? So Mitt Romney got 292,000 votes, and Barack Obama got 401,000 votes. Victory, Barack Obama. So obviously, since he won by 109,000 votes, the final vote was 4-0. Because America. But before we move on too far, let's take a look, because we can actually figure out exactly how many electoral votes there are. And we don't have to count up every state, right? It's made up of the members of Congress and the number of senators from each state, so we can figure it out easy. No problem. First, how many people are in the House? 435. Problem solved. Next, how many people are in the Senate? There's 100 of them. The math is looking pretty good. Here's the little bit of a wrench I'm going to throw in here. Washington, D.C. gets 3 electoral votes. You're just going to have to trust me. So what's that leave us with? That's right, 538. There are 538 votes. And back to the big map. So far in 2012, we have 10 votes going for Mitt Romney from Missouri, and we have 4 votes going for Barack Obama from the great northeasternly state of Maine. So what do? Let's go ahead and put all the states that voted for Mitt Romney up on the big board. We have, I don't know, those. Then we tack on the states that voted for Barack Obama, and we have, well, those. And then we have the final tally, Mitt Romney, 206, Barack Obama, 332. That's right, there were 120 million votes cast. 120 million. And the final score, 332 to 206. Go figure. Ta-da! Remix! So, every single state is assigned a very specific number of votes. That is determined by adding the number of congressmen to the number of senators in each state. Missouri has 8 congressmen and 2 senators. We get 10 votes. Fantastic. Maine gets 4 votes. Why? 2 congressmen, 2 senators. And just for funsies, let's look at California. I am not going to read you all those names. Not going to happen. Just trust me. There's 53 representatives. There's 2 senators. 55 electoral votes. So we get this ridiculous looking map. But trust me, it's apparently important in our world. You take all those state elections, regardless of where it takes place. You add up the number of people in each state. You figure out who wins the state. You assign that candidate the right number of votes. And then you get a winner. The end. Da, 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 da.